you've had the chance to meet with the defense minister, right? Tell us a little bit about that meeting.
One of the things that impressed me a good deal about that meeting with the defense minister is that he was very eloquent in describing the role of the average soldier who is committed to the state of Israel. This to me is very important.
And Tony Schaefer, who has been the youngest clandestine officer ever to serve in the CIA, who is also with us. And as we speak, by the way, he is engaged in a conversation with General el-Sisi in Egypt.
According to the founder, Al-Helpon, and I'm quoting him, I'll try not to editorialize, but to try to give you some factual basis for the comments I'm about to make about the Brotherhood. He said, "It is the nature of Islam to dominate, not to be dominated, to impose its laws on all nations, and to extend its power to the entire planet. Therefore, the Muslim Brotherhood opposes secular tendencies of Islamic nations and wants to return to the precepts of the Quran."
If you look at the Quran, in the Quran it states very clearly that infidels are in fact pigs and monkeys. They're the progeny of pigs and monkeys. And so it's Jews and Christians that fall into this category.
The motto, as many of you know, Allah is our objective, the Prophet is our leader, Quran is our law, Jihad is our way, dying in the way of Allah is our highest hope. So the death takes on a very different meaning.
There is no doubt in my mind that Israel represents the battle lines for our future. That the war that we are now facing, the long war that we are facing, is a war that is now being fought in Israel against Israel, and we will see the ramifications of it over time. The defense lines that we have established in Israel are critical.
When those young people in 1989 talked about the world that they want to change in China, what did they build? It wasn't an Eiffel Tower. It wasn't a plaque for the Prophet Muhammad. It was the Statue of Liberty. Because that beacon of light is one that shines across the globe. And it's one that people want to emulate everywhere.
We are not one of many nations. We are an exceptional nation. In a recent book by Jeffrey Hodgson says, the title of the book is The End of American Exceptionalism, said America is not exceptional. We have been living with a myth. But let me tell Professor Hodgson something. There is no nation in the world that has provided as much in the way of rights, privileges, and comforts as the United States. No nation in the world. There is no nation in the world that represents the light of almost every other nation in the world, a nation to be emulated. It is not coincidental that in 1988, when young people in China were revolting against their own government in Tiananmen Square, they did not build a monument to Muhammad. They did not build a monument like the Eiffel Tower. They built a monument to the Statue of Liberty. What they aspire to are the very conditions that we enjoy in the United States.
Jihadists in the United States and European states, without equivocation, have a desire to create caliphates across the globe and to introduce Sharia as legal precedent. Remarkably, those on the left, who once renounced orthodoxies of any kind, now embrace the totalistic dimensions of Islam. They insist that the full panoply of civil rights be given to foreign combatants, read terrorists, of course. They contend that the Islamic faith promotes peace, even when every schoolboy knows Islam is designed to place the non-believer in a position of submission.
Would you build a mosque next to this sacred ground? No! We will not tolerate this mosque tomorrow, the next day, the next week, or ever! Our goal as Americans is to respect and remember those who gave their lives so that we can live in freedom. 2,800 Americans lost their lives. We will not in any way shame their memory by allowing this mosque to be constructed on sacred ground. There is no question that we have a responsibility to make sure that that mosque is not constructed, not in my neighborhood, not in my town, not in New York, not in America. We are against that mosque. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. God bless you. God bless America.
This is a day when the silence ends. We will speak out on behalf of Israel and the United States. This alliance between two great nations has formed the basis of our civilization. We are engaged in a civilizational war, and we intend to defend the interests of Israel and America. There are those in this administration who do not understand what is at stake. What is at stake is our very survival. In May of 2008, then Senator Obama said that Israel is an infection affecting American foreign policy. Let me assure you, the future is an alliance between the United States and Israel. We must defend what Israel stands for. Israel is the hope not only for our future, but for our children's future. When we talk about what will happen, it is not merely Jerusalem next year, it's Jerusalem for the millennium. Zionism is Jerusalem, Jerusalem is Zionism. We will stand behind the future of Israel and the alliance with the United States.
But I think that you can change things in Egypt. And the first and overarching responsibility should be, let's see if we can stabilize the country. This kind of internal conflict that now exists between the Morsi followers and the government, as I indicated before, has to be crushed. I mean, I know I'm saying this in very blunt terms, but they have the Morsi followers, and they represent something in the order of 90,000 to 100,000 people, have to be defeated. And then I think you can move ahead and do other things in the country.
He said that he only took in order to prevent this country from descending into civil war. Sisi also said that he speaks to Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel every day, but that President Obama has not called him once since Morsi's ouster.
And Clarissa, we know that U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Bill Burns is working with both sides. How are those negotiations going?
Well, Burns has been meeting with all of the top players here, including General Sisi.
A report back from the field. Senator King and I did a CODEL recently to Israel, Lebanon, and Egypt, and heard a lot of real positives about the work of special forces, especially in the training mission that you've described. And for purposes of a massive budget, even a massive defense budget, I think the training that we do with other nations might be one of the best investments we make, not only in short-term kind of building capacity, but in long-term relationship building. The folks we train end up being defense ministers and prime ministers and presidents. That's an investment that really works, and so I wanted to praise you on that.